Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back here to today's edition of Intuitive Angling, and hope everybody's having a good day, and really appreciate y'all swinging by the channel today. Got a good one for y'all today. We're going to be talking about walking topwaters because at the time of filming this video, it's the middle of May, and I think for like the next month is, in my opinion, it's the #1 time to fish a walking topwater bait. So we're going to go over and give you guys a bunch of good tips and advice on this. I had a chance to be good friends and learn a lot from Charlie Campbell, which Charlie Campbell, if you're a younger angler and you don't know it, he is from here in my part of the country, Southwest Missouri, and he became famous for fishing a spook back in the 70s. He won the Bassmaster Federation, and he's known as the spook guy. So I learned a lot from Charlie along with some other old experts, and formulated some stuff myself. So we're going to get into that in this information-packed video today. Also, guys, before we get started, a couple quick things I want to remind you of. I'd just like to invite everybody to please consider hitting that subscribe button here at Intuitive Angling. Right now, we've only got like 30% of the people that watch Intuitive Angling are actually subscribed to the channel, so that's a good way to support the channel. And also, guys, please swing by and check out my Solar Bat and my Fish the Moment Lake Map breakdown links. Got good sales on the Solar Bat glasses right now, 30% off across the board. As well as summer lake map breakdowns up on the Fish the Moment website there. So I'll put all those links in the description. Really appreciate that. Okay, this style of topwater, guys, the old walking topwater, like the old spook here. You can see the freaking hook and teeth marks on that one. This has been around since, man, I think since the 30s. They've been around forever. And they are one of those baits out there. They're sort of like a buzz bait that they have maintained their effectiveness for decades, for almost 100 years, 80, 90 years, they've been catching bass. And a lot of it has to do with a lot of different stuff that generates strikes. There's something about baits like a buzz bait and a walking topwater that the action, the profile, and whatever is very appealing to bass. Still works good today, except the only difference is, like anything else, as we get into a period of higher fishing pressure and more people fishing, every lure is situational more now. It used to be like 50, 60 years ago, their situations for different type of lure categories were very broad, and you could catch fish, on lots of different stuff at lots of different times of the year. But now, since the fish are more highly educated, there's windows that baits like a walking topwater work the best. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to describe the exact window when you want to throw this thing, and then we're going to get into some more details of the bait here. Okay, so look, first of all, let's talk about the topwater, the type of topwaters. There's three basic type of walking topwaters that I use, and I want to talk about when here. And also, guys, I will link every one of these in my Tackle Warehouse link in the description. If you guys would like to pick up some of the specific topwaters I talk, you can use that link and help the channel out there too. But the three that I use, first one is the Head and Super Spook. Now here's the difference between the original spook here and the super spook. The super spook is just a little bit larger. I pretty much don't even throw a regular spook anymore. I have got so much confidence in the super spook right here that this is my go-to when I want this larger style of walking topwater. And the other two that I use is a Megabass Diamante. The Diamante is very similar to the super spook. It's a little bit smaller, not very much smaller. The difference is the spook has a lot wider side. The spook has a lot wider side-to-side action like that, and the Diamante has got a more tighter wobble. Now, depending upon the mood and the personality of the fish, you need both of them. You need a tight walker and a wide walker. And then my third one is the Megabass Giant Dog X, which out of the three guys here, I probably caught as many on the Giant Dog X as anything, but this is a very situational topwater in terms of you've got to have calm conditions for it. Now, the difference between a super spook like this is that if it's choppy out, and say you've got 1.5 2 foot chop, the super spook is buoyant enough, as well as the Diamante, both of these larger topwaters, where they sort of surf over the waves like that. And you can actually catch fish if it's a little bit choppy on the Diamante and the super spook. But the Giant Dog X, it dives in the water. Therefore, this is the bait that I throw if it's glass smooth out there, and it's just subtle little walking bait here, guys. And I have caught so many good ones on this. The best topwater day I ever had in my life, ever, Lake Champlain about 25 years ago on the Giant Dog X. Over 100 bass at Lake Champlain, probably 40 of them over 4 pounds. Unbelievable day. Okay, and also before we get into the technique, colors, I keep them pretty simple. I usually use, black is one of my favorite colors. A variety of different, show you ones right here. A variety of different colors, like in the Megabass Diamante, they've got a wide color range. So I've got a lot of different color selections in there, you can see. But in general, I'm using the more translucent finishes, the more shad type finishes on the real clear water, brighter days, and on the lower light days, I'm using either something like a black or a bone or something like with more of a matte finish on it. Keep it pretty simple with that. Okay, now one final thing before we get into the meat of the video, which is where you want to fish it and the conditions, is how you want to work this spook or the topwater and the lure and the rod that you want to throw it on. What you need to have is you need to have a medium action bait cast rod that's under 7 feet. The one that I use is the 6 foot 11 inch Megabass P5, the 110 special, which is actually a jerkbait rod, 6 feet 11 inches long with that medium tip. And the key, guys, is you got to have that rod under 7 feet, because when you're working that bait, like you're working it sideways like that, or like walking the dog with it, on a 7 foot rod, it's a little bit too heavy, and your walking is a little bit more lethargic and it'll wear you out. So a smaller, 6.5 to 6 foot 11 inch rod is what you want with that. And normally I couple it up with anywhere between 12 to 20 pound test monofilament line. I'll use lighter mono like on the smaller Giant Dog X, and probably up to 20 pound test like on a Super Spook, something like that, especially if I'm not making a real cast. Now, one of the things I want to show you here, guys, is I want to show you a couple different techniques that I learned from Charlie Campbell and from guys like Shorty Evans, these old Ozark legends for the spook. The spook became famous in my part of the country, like a lot of different baits. Some of these Ozark experts were the one that told me about this, but I want to talk about the type of retrieve to use on these, because the retrieve is really, really critical based upon your conditions. Now, let's talk about the water clarity in relationship to the retrieve that you want to use. In general, guys, the cleaner the water, the faster you want to retrieve. So what I do is, if I'm fishing a body of water that has, say, over 4 or 5 foot of clarity, and I'm fishing the bait, in some type of open water situation like points, I'll make a cast out there, like a super, super long cast. And when that bait hits the water, I reel it as fast as I can like that, and just try to jerk it out of the water. So I'm reeling it for about 5 or 10 feet, and it's just going everywhere, popping out of the water. And then I just kill it dead in the water like that, and don't move it. Just let all the ripples dissipate, and then I'll just go boom, boom. And a lot of times they'll hammer it right there, because when you throw it out there like that and you're reeling it across the water, in that clear water, you're going to draw the attention of fish from a long way away, and they're going to come swimming up to that thing to see what's going on. And then when that bait's sitting there not moving, and then you move it, a lot of times they'll just hammer it. But if they don't hit it, I'll throw it out there and I'll let it set a little bit, let the ripples dissipate, and I'll just start working it with just like sort of a medium fast retrieve like that. I don't really stop it if I'm fishing more open areas, but that's how I fish the open water situation. Now, if I'm casting a spook around targets, like say I'm throwing it next to a boat dock or around a lay down tree or on the edge of a grass bed, that's when I'm making shorter casts. I'll just make a shorter cast, and I'll just slow it down a little bit. I'll walk it like that, stop it a little bit, walk it like that, stop it, stop, and try to keep it in the strike zone next to that target. And another thing, once you get good at a walking topwater, instead of just walking it by going, when you go like that, just when you're walking it like that, the bait's going to go like that. But you can also you can walk it like that and do a half turn like that, like a slower half turn, then a hard one, then a slow one, then a hard one. And you can actually get it to go one direction like that. And some guys, if this is a stump here, they can work it where that bait will actually work around the stump. I've seen guys do that. So there's a lot of different things you can do as far as with the action on a walking topwater. It's just a matter of practice. That's one of the things I'm talking about with the walking topwater. It's an art form. And you hear me talking a lot, guys, about the art form of bass fishing and about how live scope users, there's no art form to that technique. A bait like a walking topwater, if you've seen somebody that's really good at it and knows how to work that thing, it's like watching an artist. It is watching them manipulate that bait and do things with that bait that takes time and dedication and effort. I'm just super impressed with it. So that's to be said with that. Okay, now let's get to the meat of the video here. Now there's different situations to fish a walking topwater at different times of the year, but I specifically want to talk about May and June topwater fishing now with the walking topwater. Probably the number one thing that you can do with it by far is concentrate, like I said earlier, on main lake and secondary points. Because if you have a clear water environment where that water visibility is over 3 or 4 foot in clarity, one of the first places that these post-spawn bass move to is they'll swim out to those secondary and main points, and they hang out there for a long time. They'll actually hang out there for several months, using different depth zones at that point based upon the water clarity. Some of those fish will swim out of their spawning areas, set up on those main and secondary points, and they'll get on the bottom in anywhere between, say, 5 to 25 foot and just hang out there and feed on crawdads and move up shallow at night and feed and go deeper during the daytime. Some of them will suspend out on those points. Some of them will suspend, 5, 10, 15 feet down over deeper water. And then some of them will be open water roamers that relate to that point, and they're way out off the bank there. So there's a lot of different depth zones that the fish use, but the walking topwater is an excellent choice to bring those fish up. I don't care if they're suspended or if they're on the bottom. If you've got really clear water, you can bring a fish 30 foot up off the bottom to hit a walking topwater. So my favorite way to fish them is in the month of June. I like to get out there on a day where the wind's not blowing real hard. I prefer some type of a calm or barely wind on the surface type of a day. And I just fan cast everywhere. I'll get out on that point, say in 20 or 25 foot of water. I'll make a cast up to the bank. I'll turn around and make a cast out to the middle of the lake. I'll cast sideways on the point. I don't know where those fish are going to be. They could be anywhere out there. So I'm just fan casting every one of those points, running and gunning points all day long. And guys, I've had some outstanding days doing that. Now, obviously your low light days are probably going to be better. You're probably going to have a chance at some schooling fish on a low light day, but you don't have to have it this time of year. You might catch them all day long with it. But that's the number one thing. The other pattern that works really good for me, again, this is a clear water situation, is paralleling main lake and creek bluff banks. This is another type of area those fish move after they get done spawning, especially a lake that's got a lot of spotted bass, is they'll move out to those bluffs, and you can take that walking topwater and you can make a long parallel cast down those bluff banks, especially if there's some shade on it. Sometimes this is a deal that works up until about 9 or 10 o'clock in the morning, and once you lose your shade, it's pretty much over with. But I've caught a bunch of good spotted bass with that particular technique. If you have a lake that has grass beds in it, any type of submergent grass, and you've got some fairly clean water, really good way to catch them over the top of the grass, especially if you have grass that is like anywhere between, say, 3 to 5 foot from the surface. Another great way to catch them in June, guys, is you guys are up smallmouth fishing up north in those smallmouth lakes. One of the top techniques for fishing them, just fishing them out on those big grass and rock flats for smallmouth. And finally, if you have a lake that has some more off-colored water in it, like I do this like on Grand Lake in Oklahoma a lot, and I have for years. Take some type of a matte color finish, like the pearl or the bone or black or something that stands out a little bit, and get back into those areas where those bass have been spawning, like in earlier in May, and throw that walking topwater, along any bank target. Make short casts with it, concentrate on the shade, like the shade of an overhanging tree, next to a laydown tree, if there's any cover on the bank, and just work it slow right along the bank. I'm talking about making a short 20 or 30 foot cast with that walking topwater, and just keeping it in that shady strike zone area in that shallow water. And it's also really good. Sometimes you can use a perch pattern. Megabass in that Giant Dog X, they make a perch pattern. Those bass up there feeding on spawning bluegills are a really good way to catch them. So main thing, guys, is just throw them. It's like from right now, like at the time of filming this video, I think it's the 16th or 17th of May. We are in the middle of the prime season. It's going to last probably another month. Hopefully you guys just go through that Tackle Warehouse link I put in the description. If I was you guys, I would pick up a Giant Dog X for calm conditions, and then get you a Super Spook and a Megabass Diamante for the wider, narrower, tighter wobbles. And there's no, when you're talking about that tighter or wider wobble on a walking topwater like the Super Spook versus the Diamante, there's no rhyme or reason to it. It's sort of, you just sort of have to experiment to see what the bass want day in and day out. And that's been my best way to do it. So hope it helps you guys catch them. We'll talk later.